First with breaking news. First with new information. Plus, your first alert forecast. 19 News starts now.
Several people in Westlake do not have a home anymore this afternoon. They're looking for somewhere to stay. This fire ripped through their apartment, as you can see. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Duffy. Thanks for joining us first at 4 on 19 News Plus.
And I'm Nicole Versansky. You could see the smoke from I-90 earlier this morning, but thanks to a quick response, everyone made it out safely. Keith Grant, he's been at the apartment complex all day. I know fire investigators trying to figure out how this fire started. What's the latest out there, Keith?
Brian and Nikki, that's one of the key pieces that we're still missing in this investigation, how it started. We learned this morning that the fire started on the third floor balcony there. You can tell that's where a lot of the fire damage circles around. There's water damage on the first and second floor as well. Fire crews putting this fire out, though, in less than an hour. That's pretty impressive, likely preventing a more major disaster in this tightly packed apartment complex. Dark smoke rises above Barrington Place Apartments. I-90 sits right behind this Westlake complex. Flames erupt out of the roof.
I saw a little trickle right away.
Olsey Berger Jr. was checking in on his mom like he does every day. She lives in the building directly across from the one that burned. He says that trickle of smoke became wild flames in minutes.
Some lady was walking the dog and she started calling. I said, that ain't wildfire. You know, everybody thought it was wildfire. And I'm talking about in 6 minutes, that thing was in full.
Westlake Fire Department says their first call came in at 9 Wednesday morning, and within an hour, crews from 5 fire departments knocked these flames down. The collapsed roof and damage tell the story. This could have been far worse.
Our main concern is to make sure that everybody's out, being that it's a, multi-family dwelling, and we didn't have absolute confirmation that everybody was out. But like I said, our police do a great job with helping us out with that.
Captain Russell Hetman says it looks like the fire started on the balcony of an apartment on the 3rd floor. Between police and fire crews, everyone living in this building was evacuated out and no one was hurt. Even this dog that a firefighter carried away from the building. And Berger stunned by the destructive fire.
Man, it was like something you never, dream of. And we talk all the time to my boys and my wife, and you say, man, we got to be ready. But when is ready, All
right, it looks like there were 12 units in this apartment complex here that were damaged in the fire. We did see the Red Cross around here helping those people find some sort of short-term shelter. We asked the management on if they have any plans of long-term shelter for the people that don't have a home tonight. They declined to comment on that. Keith Grant, 19 News.
Now to some breaking Guardians news. Jose Ramirez is back with the team after a 5-week absence. Ramirez was activated and is in the lineup tonight, batting second, playing third. He broke a bone in his left hand June 13th. Ramirez will be wearing special batting gloves with extra padding tonight.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
Well, and if you are coming downtown for the game, you're going to be met with a little bit of wind. You may have noticed that around the area earlier today, all courtesy of that cold front that came through yesterday, creating a little bit more of those waves out at Edgewater Beach. And certainly our wind and kite surfers taking full advantage of this, right? You can see a lot of folks out at our Conneaut camera certainly enjoying some of these more blustery conditions. It's one of those rare things to say, especially in late July. Your water temperature is actually warmer than where the air temperature currently sits. Most of us are checking in mid to upper 60s across our area, so it has certainly been a well cooler than average day. It is going to remain that way even as we head into this evening. Speaking of the Guardians, if you are headed to the Guardians Twins game at 6:40, plan on temperatures staying mid to upper 60s. We'll walk you through when warmer air arrives coming up in a bit.
Man was shot and killed outside of a police station. Police say it was a child custody exchange, but it went all wrong. And there are still plenty of unanswered questions about what is an ongoing case now. Catherine Huntley is live for us. Catherine, what are you learning right now about what happened here?
Yeah, 29-year-old Marcus Driggins Jr. of Cleveland is dead following this overnight shooting outside of this 5th District Cleveland police station. Now, the 29-year-old met 2 women in this parking lot to do some sort of custody exchange of a child. However, an altercation started shortly and later ended up with Driggins being shot and killed. A child custody exchange at a Cleveland police station turned deadly overnight. Cleveland police say Marcus Driggins met 2 women for a child drop-off shortly before 1 a.m. Police haven't officially confirmed the relationship of the adults, but they believe it involves the child's parents. The child is between 8 and 10 years old. Police say during the handoff, an argument started between the adults in the parking lot. The 2 women and Driggins left separately. Investigators tell 19 News a short time later, the 2 cars drove past each other on a nearby street. The women turned around and headed back to the police station. Police are still investigating why. At some point, police say Driggins rammed their car with his, hitting it twice. Back at the station, the 2 women and child got out of the car and tried to make it inside for help. However, police say Driggins got out of his car and followed the women. Investigators say one of the women then shot the man multiple times. Marcus Driggins died at the hospital. Police are investigating who pulled the trigger.
It's definitely something that's concerning when there's these type of emotions involved in these type of interactions or relationships. It's always concerning when a child is involved, but we're grateful that the child was not injured in the process.
One of the women immediately ran into the police station to tell them what happened. Cleveland police say the best practice is to go inside the station and alert an officer before any possibly dangerous exchange takes place.
Our recommendation is, enter the building, have an officer present when that exchange occurs. So sometimes it may be just let me pause and not have an interaction with you in the parking lot or prior to entering. It's preferred to have that interaction perhaps inside the building where an officer can be present.
Now, police say the child remains in the mother's custody. Now, only 1 gun was recovered at the scene. No charges have been filed at this point. Police are not ruling out any charges in the future. They say it's still just very early in the investigation. In Cleveland, Catherine Huntley, 19 News.
Now your 19 First Alert traffic update.
New accident to alert you to Jennings Freeway southbound. The center lane is blocked at Spring Road. If you look in the top right corner of your screen right here, you notice the traffic is backed up quite a bit here on the Jennings Freeway. Probably best to get on I-77 as opposed to the Jennings Freeway if you are headed out of downtown for this afternoon. We're still monitoring a crash as well, I-90 westbound in Lorain County. This is at State Route 57 in the middle of the construction zone here. We're still moving very slow. The right lane is blocked here, and again, this is through that construction zone where we split off into 2 contraflow lanes. The right lane going, of course, far westbound, and the left lane joining the eastbound lanes here. You can see they're starting to clear this. This is the tow truck right here. It does look like they've totally closed the far right lane here on I-90 westbound, so traffic is being forced into the contraflow lane here. Keep that in mind as you are traveling west. We'll get you a look at drive times coming up in a bit.
Nicholas, thank you. Tropical Storm Bertha has made landfall on the Gulf Coast, sliding up to the northern tip of Louisiana.
National Weather Service has issued tropical storm watches now and warnings for places that could get blasted with a storm surge of 1 to 4 feet. Lana Zach reports now from Louisiana.
Double red flags went up along beaches from the Florida Panhandle to Alabama as Tropical Storm Bertha whipped up 50-mile-per-hour winds.
We snuck out this morning, did a little fishing. Came down here early this morning. The waves were really bad.
In Alabama, beachgoers at Cotton Bayou Beach heeded warnings to stay out of the water due to dangerous rip currents and rough surf.
I like to take videos. Got family members that live up north and like to show them when the Gulf gets a little angry.
The National Hurricane Center expects Bertha to maintain its slow westward crawl, bringing coastal flooding here to parts of Louisiana.
We prepare every day, 365.
As the storm closed in, officials closed floodgates in Orleans and St. Bernard parishes, where residents could face 1 to 4 feet of storm surge.
For us, it's just another day at the office. These moments test our operational discipline that we've done all year round.
Crews in Terrebonne Parish reinforced a damage levee with giant sandbags ahead of the storm to protect residents from any potential impacts.
It doesn't take a major hurricane to do major damage in communities in Louisiana.
Forecasters don't expect the second named storm of the season to strengthen into a hurricane.
While we have this storm that we're going to be contending with, it may not be the last one, so always be prepared.
Meteorologists say warmer waters in the Atlantic could bring more destructive storms later in the year. Lana Zach, CBS News, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana.
Bertha is expected to weaken later this week as it approaches Texas. All right, breaking news first at 4 and streaming on 19 News Plus. The Westlake man accused of killing his wife is now out of the hospital and being held on a $5 million bond.
Now, we still don't know why exactly William Feather was hospitalized. Westlake police say he murdered his wife, Michelle, on Friday. Officers found blood in what they called signs of chaos inside their Canterbury Road home.
The 65-year-old is on his way to the Cuyahoga County Jail, or he will be shortly, where he will await his next court appearance.
All right, as we head through the rest of this evening, some clouds will still stick around, though we are on a slow clearing trend of some of that cloud cover as we head into the overnight. That's going to open up the door to some much cooler temperatures for us headed into early tomorrow morning. And honestly, that's going to be the theme here as we go through the next couple of days, just enjoying kind of a little bit of a taste of fall here in late July. Live look from our Oberlin camera, you can certainly tell the sky just kind of looks fall-like, right? With these clouds in the distance, got a little bit of blue sky popping through as well. And these dew point temperatures important because the lower that number is, that means the lower your temperature can then get during that overnight time frame. So if we do lose a lot of this cloud cover, which I expect that we will, it's going to really allow that temperature to fall efficiently back into the lower to middle 50s. Now, you will be a little bit warmer up by the lake shore simply because the lake temperatures are sitting mid to upper 70s, and so that's going to modify that air mass, as we like to call it, just a little bit. Tomorrow, a little bit warmer than where we have been today. I do think temperatures are back for the middle 70s under plenty of sun, but changes on the way this weekend.
Well, they are certainly controversial, and the Ohio EPA has just handed down a decision that will impact every data center that tries to build here in Ohio.
19 data journalist Dan DeRose is here to explain. Dan.
One of the big problems with these data centers that people have is the impact that they can have on the environment. Yes, they suck up a lot of electricity, but they also have to run a lot of water through these. Think about these massive data computers and servers. They have to be cooled somehow because they just run all the time. And so a lot of them use what's called evaporative cooling. It's a system of running cold water in and around all of these servers to cool them down. But here's the problem. In that process, as you use that water, you can get mineral salts and chemicals that become concentrated because it's constantly evaporating, but it's leaving behind things like minerals and chemicals. But these data centers want to be able to put those maybe back out into the stream or into the drain system that could be a problem. So what they have to do is they have to apply for what's called the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit. Basically, how are you going to follow the national guidelines for how you're going to get rid of that water? Here's what they wanted to do in Ohio. They asked for a general permit saying any data center that gets built will have to fly at these standards. Well, apparently the Ohio EPA heard enough from backlash from people who are concerned throughout the state. They denied the general permit. They said they feel much more comfortable if every single one that goes to get built has to apply for an individual permit, and it will be required. That way they can say, look, we have a body of water here, or in this part of the state, we have wetlands here that could potentially be impacted. So that's the Ohio EPA putting their foot down on data centers, and it will at least make it a little more difficult for each individual one to have to go through that permitting process.
All right, Dan, thanks. Well, we showed you this video at the beginning of the week, an oddly shaped raccoon wandering around Seattle. He was named Jimothy, which somehow seems appropriate. Now he is a sensation. So it will not surprise you that the National Bobblehead Hall of Fame and Museum unveiled their bobblehead of the unusually round raccoon. He's got some kind of, congenital birth defect or something?
Yes.
Yeah. So with his popularity exploding, Jimothy has become the subject of clothing and merchandise and artwork, all well deserved.
Sure.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
I kind of wanted to see that bobblehead, move, but I wanted to see him with like sunglasses on or something like that.
Yeah, well,
right?
he's such a celebrity now.
Right.
He's got to stay undercover. It's all funny till he gets into your trash cans, and then you've got a different experience, right? 19 First Alert meteorologist Erica Page here with us now.
Yeah, she's got details on these cooler temperatures that we're dealing with today, and sounds like into tomorrow too.
Yeah, it's really going to be a very nice stretch. I don't know about many of us, but kind of nice to get a little bit of a break from some of the heat when we've been dealing with all those 90s so far this summer. Let's walk you through the forecast here because there are going to be some changes, and it all came through with this cold front yesterday. So you think back to yesterday evening, we had all those showers and storms out ahead of that front, some of which were warned for tornado warnings. One came back today as the National Weather Service conducted their survey, and they found that in Trumbull and Mahoning counties, there was an EF0 tornado, winds peaking out at 85 miles per hour. But what was really fascinating about this particular storm, and kind of rare, especially here in Northeast Ohio, this was on the ground for over 6 miles. So again, that just kind of goes to show you can have some of those weaker storms, but they can still create quite a punch when you're talking about a conducive, severe environment. Now we're on the backside of that system. That cold front's well off to the east, and we're just waiting on the clouds loosely associated with that system to continue to clear out later tonight. That's going to push your overnight lows back into the 50s. Enjoy some of that cooler weather that's going to be settling in by early tomorrow morning, and we are going to have a ton of sunshine across the area for your Thursday. Really a great day. If you want to get outside, enjoy some of this beautiful weather, I highly suggest you do so. There's that front. You can see all the rain out across parts of the east coast, largely down towards the Carolinas, and we also have this area of high pressure starting to build in from our west. So that's what's going to give us these really pleasant conditions here next couple of days. Temperatures thus far have made it upper 60s to about lower 70s. Again, we are basically going to be coasting through the rest of this evening, enjoying those mid to upper 60s.
Now your top 4 at 4. Firefighters battled a large apartment fire in Westlake. Flames lit up the Barrington Place apartments on Detroit. Starting on a 3rd floor balcony, police and firefighters had to go door to door to try and get people out. One firefighter was hurt. That dog was okay. 19 News cameras did capture firefighters carrying the dog away from the building.
Maple Heights police are warning about door-to-door scams. In one scenario, a woman says she's from the city building department and asks about how many people live in your home. In another case, a person shows up saying they'll inspect your roof. They're not affiliated with the city. Police say legitimate city employees are going to wear a uniform, they're going to carry an official ID badge, and drive a marked city vehicle.
Euclid police are trying to identify these guys. We're told they broke into a car at the Vista Apartments on Lakeshore Boulevard. A security camera caught them smashing up the inside of one car. Police say these teens could be tied to a whole string of break-ins and stolen vehicles in the air.
Well, the Heat's YouTube page teased an introductory press conference for LeBron on July 27th with a link that was quickly deleted. A Heat spokesperson told ESPN while James may end up returning to Miami, the scheduled video was posted accidentally by the team's social media department. LeBron has been linked to a number of franchises. Of course, the Cleveland Cavaliers. We are on that list as well.
That's interesting. All right, the Louvre in Paris reopened part of the museum today that was the site of that daring crown jewels heist from last October.
So visitors are once again able to walk through the Apollo Gallery on their way to see the Mona Lisa, with some flashy artifacts missing. So display cases and remaining precious jewels have been removed. They were once the hallmark of the gallery until thieves pillaged the collection, making off with $102 million in jewelry in under 8 minutes.
I think it is good that they have moved it because, I mean, if they put it back in the same place, what's stopping them from coming back and getting it again?
I think it's incredible to be here today and to be able to see it reopening.
But you know. Security at the Louvre was upgraded with new surveillance cameras and anti-intrusion systems. It's part of a decade-long modernization plan launched last year to the tune of some $900 million.
Major step forward today for the Browns indoor stadium in Brook Park. Newly formed oversight board held its first ever meeting just this morning.
So getting organized, laying out a financial roadmap. First and 4, Brittany Weir joining us live in Brook Park with what came out of this meeting, Brittany.
Yes, Nicole and Brian, that Brook Park Community Authority had their first ever meeting here this morning. So that 9-member board, they were sworn in, they adopted their bylaws, and they got to work. But Mayor Edward Orcutt says this is more than just about paperwork. This is a signal that the stadium project is officially moving forward.
We just made history here in the city of Brook Park today.
And with that gavel, the Brook Park New Community Authority was officially open for business. A 9-member board with one mission: get a dome stadium built and keep it financially sound for generations.
It means we're going. It means that this thing is moving, and I can't tell you how excited I am as the mayor and a member of this new community authority here in Brook Park.
The board includes citizen members, a local government representative, and developers from Haslam Sports Group. The authority will own the stadium, oversee improvements, manage the lease, and issue bonds, serving as the financial and operational backbone of this project.
This is a long-term solve, and as we've talked about, as the mayor said, as Jimmy and Dee have said, we view this as a 50-plus year solution.
One of the board's first big agenda items will be personal seat licenses, or PSLs, a financial tool for new NFL stadiums.
We've been really thoughtful in how we are, pricing the building PSLs to make sure that there's accessibility for everyone.
Ted Tywing with Haslam Sports Group says pricing details are coming soon.
It'll be rolled out in kind of a tiered fashion, but more to come soon, I would say early fall.
Mayor Orcutt says the authority is designed to protect taxpayers.
From the beginning, we've always said that this has to make financial sense for the city of Brook Park. We've also said that we're not going to negotiate in the public. We will take those examples of what has happened in the past, and we'll try to correct those things. We will correct things.
And the next meeting date has not yet been set, but the mayor says the more that this community authority gets to meet, it'll be for the better. He also added that the stadium project is still on track to open in 2029. In Brook Park, Brittany Weir, 19 News.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast, certified most accurate since 2004.
You just saw some video from the Youngstown area. This is all courtesy of that tornado that came through yesterday. So again, this was rated an EF0 from the National Weather Service. It did impact parts of Trumbull County and Mahoning counties. Tree damage was the main thing that they were really witnessing with this tornado specifically. Peak winds at about 85 miles per hour. The really interesting thing to note is how long it was on the ground, especially for a weak tornado, but really any tornado here in Northeast Ohio, 6 miles, a little over that. That is pretty impressive for thunderstorms, especially tornadic ones here in our area. You can see there's those storm reports from yesterday. Not necessarily widespread storm reports, though everybody was pretty much dealing with at some point some of those rain and storms where we didn't see the morning convection, as we will call it. That's where the more numerous storm reports were felt, especially south of our area yesterday afternoon and into the evening. We'll talk about our next chance for rain and storms coming up here in just a little bit.
2 Springfield Township police officers are being called heroes after a house fire. Watch this now. This is newly released body cam video. Officer Corey Dorsey spotted heavy black smoke. He was on patrol, so he rushed to the house. Then Sergeant Michael Roberts got there. A 13-year-old girl was trapped inside that house, so Roberts went in, found her, and she was in and out of consciousness at this point. The 2 officers then pulled her out to safety.
3 people were taken to the hospital after a fire on the Red Line train overnight. RTA says smoke and fire, they were reported on a train near the West Boulevard Cadell station. 10 passengers got off the train. 3 complained of smoke inhalation, taken to the hospital and are stable. Cleveland Fire put out the flames and the train was towed back to the rail district.
Now your 19 First Alert traffic update.
All right, still dealing with that crash. Jennings Freeway southbound at Spring Road. Only 19-mile-an-hour speed going on in the southbound lanes. I do want to pull up our ODOT cameras. They have moved this off to the shoulder. This was originally blocking the middle lane here on the Jennings southbound. Again, if you are traveling down to, let's say, Parma or Seven Hills from downtown, I recommend getting on I-77. That's a good detour to avoid all this traffic mess. It's backed up all the way to about Harvard-Denison right now. So you're going to be dealing with delays regardless if you are traveling along the Jennings Freeway. Also dealing with slow traffic, stop and go pretty much from Dead Man's Curve all the way to Chester here on the Interbelt. Of course, that's due to weaving traffic, so be sure you're allowing yourself some extra time. And the Shoreway might serve you better if you're traveling from the east side to the west side this evening, as there is stop and go traffic about 16 miles an hour speed right now here on the Interbelt southbound going into downtown from the east side. Traffic has cleared on I-90 westbound. That accident is now gone. Both lanes now open on I-90 west. So good news for those of us traveling toward Elyria along State Route 57. Quick look at drive times. If you are traveling westbound on the Shoreway, about 10-minute travel time there from Dead Man's Curve to Lake Avenue. Jennings Freeway south, though, 20 minutes from Steelyard to I-480. So make sure you're taking it slow there. And again, probably find an alternate route.
All right, well, we now know some of the findings from the preliminary independent autopsy for Nolan Wells, weeks after his body was found following a boat trip with some friends.
So the cause of his death has not yet been determined. His parents and family attorney say they are committed to finding out what happened to the teen. Lee Waldman breaks down what we learned and what's still to come with the autopsy results.
Days after a funeral for their son in Mississippi, Nolan Wells' parents remain determined to find out what happened.
Any parent that would be in this situation, you would do anything to find out what happened to your child.
We want to know what happened to our son.
Wells' body was found on July 6 on the shoreline of Horn Island off of Mississippi's coast following a boating trip with friends on the 4th. Results from the official autopsy performed by the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office have not yet been released, pending the outcome of standard toxicology tests. The Wells family requested a second independent autopsy, which found the 18-year-old's cause and manner of death undetermined, pending investigation, according to the family's attorney.
This pathologist cannot rule out if any intervening non-accidental factors contributed to or caused the death of Nolan Wells. Understand, he's saying based on the examination of the body, he cannot rule out foul play.
In the independent autopsy report, Dr. Roger A. Mitchell Jr. explains he did not have access to all of Wells' remains after the state's autopsy, including a portion of Wells' neck. He noted retaining that neck structure during an initial autopsy is a, quote, common forensic pathology practice. Wells' body was found in the water. Attorney Ben Crump points out they don't know how he got there.
We still have more questions than we have answers.
I'm Lee Waldman reporting.